we are then, drivers are lined up on the grid, ready for the Manufacturer Series race of World Series 3 for the FIA certified Gran Turismo Championships. It's Jose Serrano for Team Porsche who will line up on pole position, that time of 1:26.688. He's got Igor Fraga for company on that front row of the grid, just 5 thousandths of a second adrift. Then Yuki Araki, the surprise in the Dodge Viper, third quickest in qualifying, with the 18-year-old Belgian Quentin Yahal alongside him. Then it is the winners of World Series 2, Takuma Miyazono's Subaru in P5, with Baptiste Beauvoir for Mercedes-Benz. Their best finish so far of the season, only third. Alonso Regalado finishes in P7 in qualifying. He lines up there for 7th on the grid. Sugimori for Honda will line up in P8. Completing the top 10 is Mazda's Ryota Kokubun, and Kokubun, of course, with Mazda leading the championship in the Manufacturer Series, with Okamoto in the Volkswagen Beetle alongside him. Then the final row of the grid is comprised of Mario Straka, the Slovakian, and of course the luckless Adam Tapai. In qualifying, of course, he got a penalty, his lap time was disallowed, and he will therefore start from 12th and last on the grid. So Jimmy, only hard compound tyres available for our drivers, but a mandatory pit stop here for this.
Yeah, interesting from a strategic point of view. You do have to take a pit stop. You don't have to take tyres or put fuel in, though. So go fast early. Maybe you have to do a bit of refueling, or maybe you want to burn those tyres early and have a tyre stop, or maybe be a bit slower, a bit more careful on your tyres, and then not take tyres at the stop. So the choice is there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the average pit loss time is going to be about 14 seconds plus the stop time if the drivers do put fuel in or indeed change their tyres. So let's see what is going to happen then as we get ready for round 3 of the World Series for the FIA certified Gran Turismo Championships. Jose Serrano for Team Porsche is going to lead the field over the line here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria and down towards that first corner. The race then is underway. Serrano for Porsche leads the way from Fraga for Toyota. Weaving the drivers are as they try to get heated to the tyres on the uphill run towards that first corner. Of course, a rolling start spreads the field out quite a lot, so don't expect any rash moves being made, but there's a really, really long run down this straight through the left-handed kick of turn 2 and on the brakes into turn 3, and that's where we could see positions ready to change hands for the first time. But it is Serrano that has the advantage over the field. On the brakes into turn 3 we go then with Fraga, and really deep on the brakes there for Quentin Yahal from 4th position. He just about gathers it up, but he was quite close on the back there of Araki's Dodge.
Yeah, everyone really just sort of defending through there, just sensing whether a move can be made. Both Serrano and Fraga both feeling they don't have enough heat in their tyres at the moment, so a bit more weaving down towards T4 there. So it's Serrano for Porsche, Toyota, Dodge and Araki in 3rd at the moment. Quentin Yahal in the Peugeot behind. No one making any moves at the moment, but Fraga very close to the back of Jose Serrano in that Porsche. Now this is where we think the Porsche is a bit quicker. This one Toyota through here. The Toyota, of course, front engine, so a bit more understeer prone than the Porsche in front. And you can see that just the Porsche just putting a little bit of a gap through there, but as soon as the Joe gets his power down, gets into the toe, he starts to gain back again.
Yeah, absolutely right. And down towards the final sector of the lap we go. You can see Fraga there closing up onto the back of Jose Serrano. Now, what I what's going to be going through Fraga's head at this point? Is he going to be thinking about pouncing on Serrano earlier? Is he just going to bide his time? There's a lot to lose and not a lot to gain in the early stages of this race, given how long it is, and of course, given that mandatory pit stop, strategy could be a very important factor there as well. So we'll see how it all plays out between the drivers. You can see there Baptiste Beauvoir in 6th position. Mercedes-Benz been a bit off the colour in 2021 so far. The car has not been as quick as they would have wanted, and here is a problem for Ryota Kokubun. He started down the order. You can see him in here in 9th position, but he was last over the line. Ran it out wide through turn 4 there. Drops right to the back of the grid.
I hate to say it, a bit of an amateur mistake there from Ryota. Just very easy to go wide there if you're on the throttle early, but just sort of understeered off. Here are our predicted points, the manufacturers, as they stand at the moment. Of course, it's the race ended right now, and that would put Toyota to the top of the table, but we still have 18 laps to go, so a long way in this race to go before we get any idea of who's where and what's what. And realistically, really, there's not much you can do with Jose Serrano at the front, because you need to put a gap of about 1.5 seconds, even 2 seconds, to actually break the toe to those guys behind you. Otherwise, you just drag everybody on, along with you.
And you've just got to play it steady, I guess, if you're Igor Fraga, Araki, Yahal, etc. at this point. There's no point doing anything rash and compromising your race and potentially another competitors as well.
Yeah, there is that kind of option to it, really. You think as a driver, you want to be first all the time, pretty much. So it's always quite hard to follow somebody around. But sometimes you've got to just think, okay, let's just take it easy, let's just relax a little bit and see how the race unfolds as time goes on. So we've got a sort of a lead pack forming here, which is Serrano, Porsche, Toyota, Dodge, Peugeot and Subaru, and it looks like Baptiste Beauvoir in the Mercedes just starting to fall to the back here. So this is what we expect to see as time goes on, I think, as the cars are going to start to spread out a little bit. We're going to start to have sort of little packs racing, and that's just the nature of a circuit. Can we have so much specific around it? Here's Araki, you can see him picture there with Igor Fraga in front in the Toyota as well. Both of them look like they're just having a little something to drive, don't they? They're very chilled out. You should see me when I drive, just full of sweat usually, so these guys are a lot more composed than I do. Now here we are, Araki looking for a move here, looking every which way he can around Igor Fraga, but Igor's an old hand. He's not going to get by that easy, are you?
Certainly not, and Fraga then just chops off the line, coming down in towards the braking zone of turn number 4, goes a little bit more defensive. That's going to potentially, I was going to think, compromise his exit on the run out of the corner, but he manages to get it all gathered up, and it's such a short run comparatively down in towards the next left-hander which follows. No such problems there for Igor Fraga to keep a watching brief on his mirrors for the time being. But I suppose if you're Iraqi at the moment, you're in an unfortunate position of attacking and trying to defend at the same time. He's trying to get past Igor Fraga, or looking to, but he's got to keep his eyes full of the Peugeot of Quentin Yahulin.
Yeah, definitely. I think that Dodge has a little bit of a straight line speed advantage of some of the cars around it, so it's not too bad when you find yourself sort of being slipstreamed by the guy behind. But I'm just looking at that picture there. Iraqi's just smiling, he's having a great time. This is the first time Dodge has been anywhere near this high up in the order. I think he's happy to be there, frankly.
Just sat there vibing away.
He's having a great time, and well, what is there to say when you're driving against, of course, our 2018 Nations Cup champion and keeping up with him easily? Here's Miyazono as well, and there's Quentin Yahul up in the top left. Great to have these driver cams here at the moment as well, isn't it? Just get an idea of what these guys are actually going through when they're driving.
Yeah, absolutely right. It really does make it very exciting for the audience at home. I'm sure you can see top 3 finish there for Yahul, and top 4 in the World Series Showdown for Miyazono, and those competitors running in 4th and 5th place in the World Series 3 Manufacturer Series race that we're watching here at the moment. You can see Baptiste Beauvoir on the left-hand side of the screen. Now, he's a driver with a fiery temperament, I think it's fair to say, and he's got Alonso Regalado now ready to send it down the inside. They run side by side on the brakes. The Aston Martin versus the Mercedes-Benz, and the British manufacturer is ahead and into 6th place.
Schumacher Villeneuve vibes there. Looks like Beauvoir turned into Regalado, actually tried to stop him going through, but Regalado's already through by that point, so nice position gained there from Regalado, but goes quite wide on the exit there. You'll be really careful going wide on the exit. I wish you might pick up a penalty if you're not careful. With a bump as well from Beauvoir. These guys are starting to get the elbows out, as I think they're both squabbling over 6th place. What that means behind them, though, is Sugimori in the NSX for Honda is basically just waiting for his chance to pound. Regalado there, messing up the second to last corner. Big understeer moment on the way in there. Just got in front a bit too early, the nose pushed down. That slowed them both down. But look at the mirror there, top right. There is Sugimori in the NSX. So if anything happens with these two, he's going to be there ready to pick up the pieces.
Down the start finish, ready to go on the braking zone into the first corner. You can see there both are right onto the rear wing of Alonso Regalado. Sugimori there in the Honda NSX in the background, ready to try and pounce if anything changes hands. But of course, for the disadvantage there of Sugimori in front of him, Beauvoir has got the slipstream from Alonso Regalado. And I suppose if nothing else, that does just go to show how impressive that slipstream effect is, but also how fast that Aston V12 advantage is in a straight line.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've got that's a bingo card done for the day. It's Aston V12, good in the straight line. But it seems fine for now as we pop now down to the T4. Looks like a little bit of contact there actually on the back of Regalado. Baptiste Beauvoir not quite getting the car slowed down quick enough. That's the old bump and run. I'll be interested to see what the stewards think of that. I mean, all's fair enough in racing, I say usually, but not better than a bump every here and there. So Baptiste is up into 6th place. Regalado going very wide out of there. And I won't be surprised if we see. Oh, there you go. It's almost like, you know what? I'm retiring, becoming a psychic. All done and dusted. Thank you very much.
There's a career in after racing, a commentating view as a steward for sure.
I'll read your palm for you, mate.
Incident involving Regalado and Beauvoir, of course, under investigation. A penalty then automatically awarded to Regalado, and I wonder whether the stewards are just going to increase that penalty from 1 second a bit further, and a bit raggedy out of that final corner there for Regalado. That allows Sugimori to close up. So now Regalado has had his concentration broken, and a penalty there being given to Beauvoir for the contact as well. So it's a bit of a stalemate, and it's Christmas come early for Sugimori, because he's set to take advantage of that and gain 2 positions once the penalties have been served.
He said rubbing his hands, didn't he? Sugimori wins by doing nothing. And speaking of lunges here comes Igor Fraga up the inside of Jose Serrano, though he's a little bit tight on exit, which means Serrano gets a better exit, better drive out the corner. He's able to defend from the Brazilian driver in the Toyota. And Araki was in there as well. He fancied a little go. I mean, he's in a good place, Araki, at the moment. We've just seen essentially the same thing happen a bit further down the grid, where 2 cars coming together and the guy behind benefiting from it, and that might happen there for our lead group. We have 5 cars who are sort of within a shout of winning this race at the moment. Of course, bear in mind there is a mandatory pit stop that we've not done yet, so that might shake up the order a little bit, but it's looking like now that Igor Fraga is getting a little bit impatient with Jose Serrano in front.
If you're a driver that's a bit further down the order, but still involved in this league group, I'm thinking the likes of Takuma Miyazono, Quentin Hall, etc. Do you think that they're going to try and do something different, get themselves onto hard tyres, a new set of hard tyres if those in front don't change over, and just try something different?
Just depends really whether taking the tyres is a strategy here. It will, of course, just to reiterate that whilst the racing hard tyre is there, it is not mandatory if you actually to switch the tyre out. You can just maintain the same tyre if you want, but I'm fairly sure we're going to see people taking tyres anyway. If that is the case, hypothetically, and I'm speaking hypothetically here, if I was Miyazono, I'd pit early, go up to a fresh set of tyres and try and make the jump. But the tow round here is so strong that, as you're seeing right now, actually, as Fraga again looks around the outside of Serrano, can he get it done this way instead? No. Oh look, here comes Araki on the inside there in the Viper, and I think Fragas has done himself dirty here in the Toyota. He has done, and Araki up into 2nd place in the Dodge, slots in front. There you go. I like that. That's very cheeky. It's like, got you.
Onto the brakes we go. Here comes Fraga immediately trying to retaliate into T4. No way through there for the Brazilian driver. And now he's got to keep his eyes, Fraga, of course, on the mirrors, because Quentin Hall in that Peugeot RCZ will be ready to pounce. This top 5, the quintet of drivers coming through the middle sector, all very evenly matched in terms of qualifying pace and race pace, as it turns out. On lap 7 here, you wonder whether Araki is going to try and get himself to the front. If he's got the pace to get in front of Serrano, will he try and do so? Will he just hold station for the time being? He's going to have to keep an eye, though, on Fraga, because we know that the Brazilian driver will prefer to be in 2nd rather than 3rd at this stage. So let's see whether Fraga in that Toyota is going to be able to find his way past. And of course, Toyota won the World Series Showdown last time out as part of the FIA Certified Gran Turismo Championships in 2021. We know how fast that Supra GR3 machine is, especially at the hands of Igor Fraga. Oh, Araki there, just getting a little bit sideways on corner exit. Not too much to cause concern about, but if you do that too much, and especially coming out of a slower corner onto a long straight like this, it can cost you more than it can gain, and at a latter stage in the race, that could be crucial.
Looks good though. See, that's the important thing. Got to look good when you're out there smashing your Viper around. But no, I'm a Dodge fan for this race. Usually I'm a Nissan fanboy, but my boys haven't been delivering recently. Nissan down 11th right now. We've only Ryoto Kokumo behind, surprisingly. 13 Mazda really struggling today. Seems we're on board now with Quentin Hall in the Peugeot. Just again biding his time. That's sort of what this race is going to be for a while. I think it's just just waiting for the guy in front to make a mistake and then taking a lunge when you feel like you can. Problem is when you do that, as you'll all know at home, if you are fighting, that means you're slowing each other down, and that allows the guys ahead to move forward a bit further. And that's sort of what happened here with Fraga, where he's lost that pace a little bit. Araki and Serrano now starting to pull a little bit of a gap over the Toyota driver. Right hand they go over the crest of the hill and down in towards the final series of corners. You can see the top 5 still running nose to tail as they come through there. Now, who is going to be the first driver to blink here? Ah, look at that, just as I say, that's almost like I'm a prophet. So Fraga comes into the pit lane, as does Hall, as does Miyazono then as well. So Serrano and Araki are the only 2 from the top 5 that continue on their normal lap. So these top 3 drivers predictably trying to get the undercut at this stage here. Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens here. I mean, they've all got enough fuel, so there will be no fuel added to the car here, just tyres. And they are opting to change tyres. There you go, fresh set of the hard Michelin tyres going on to Igor Fraga's Toyota as going to the pit lane now. We're going to have to wait a lap or 2 to see how this all sort of pans out, because we Serrano and Araki to pit as well at the top. Interesting, Kokumo coming in as well. Not really sure what options he has open now, to be honest. He's so far back, but you never know, maybe there'll be a blinder somewhere and we'll be talk about a Mazda victory in a few laps' time, but unlikely. Here's Fraga looking back from Yahul and Miyazone. These guys come out the pit lane in the same order they went in, so their pace now is very much dictated by Eagle out front in the Toyota. If he makes any mistakes, they're all going to have to sort of just wait for him, which means that Araki and Serrano are sort of doing the opposite. They're trying to push as hard as they can now on this in lap. It must be that they both should be coming in now, otherwise it's not going to go well for them, I don't think. So yeah, the gap from what I can see is quite consistent though, so not much pace difference.
Yeah, 10 times tyre wear, just to remind you here. So 10 laps, of course, are the equivalent, or so 1 lap is the equivalent to 10 laps at this Red Bull Ring circuit. So those tyres are definitely coming towards the end of their useful shelf life, and that was evidenced in the lap times that we were seeing with the top 5. And now, of course, 3 of those drivers having pitted, they're on fresher rubber, so they're going to be a little bit quicker. And exactly as you predicted, Serrano comes into the pit lane. I don't think Araki did. He's continued on for another lap then. So that's an interesting strategy call for the Dodge driver. And I do wonder whether that's going to cost him more than it will gain him staying out.
Yeah, interesting is a polite way of saying probably the wrong one.
I'm trying to be diplomatic.
Yeah. I don't know. It depends really. If Araki's going to be in clean air, that's about the only thing I'm going for him right now. It's on tyres that, if you shake away the tyre wear multiplier, are like 100 laps old, you know, in that regard. So, and here's going to be interesting. Where does Fraga and Quinton Yahul come out behind Jose Serrano and Porsche? They are very close, but I think Serrano's just about kept the place. Yeah, he has actually, so there you go. So Serrano's kept the place at the moment from the guys behind. There is an overspeed coming down here to T3. T2 is a little king, you can see in the background there. But Serrano has managed to take back second place at the moment. The only person, of course, up ahead is Araki. Now, you can see in the timing column there that there's 16.6 seconds between Serrano and Araki. We're going to watch that gap as the lap goes on. If it comes down, it's not looking good for Team Dodge.
I don't think he's going to be able to have enough to do this. I think if he does have enough, he's going to be right at the back of that quintet of drivers. So let's see what's going to happen. It's about 14 seconds was the average pit loss time going into this one, but once you've taken on some tyres, as you said, Jimmy, it's going to be super, super close between these guys. And let's see what is going to happen then. Looking at Igor Fraga and Jose Serrano as we ride on board with the Spaniard, of course, who was so unlucky in the Nations Cup. Here comes Fraga on the inside of Serrano as Araki pits, then coming down in towards the right-hander of turn 9 and turn 10. No opportunity presenting itself. Araki then, as they come through into the final series of corners, is he going to emerge in front as these drivers come out? Let's see what's going to happen then. Down the start-finish straight we go. It's Fraga versus Serrano for the effective race lead as we come on to start another lap. Down the start-finish straight we go. It's the Toyota on the inside, Serrano in the Porsche on the outside. Fraga goes through into the race lead. Here's Araki on pit exit then as well, and somehow he's just ahead, but of course these guys in front have got a lot more momentum behind them, and this is going to get very exciting indeed. So Araki then tries to move over and take the normal racing line. Fraga's going for the outside line into turn 3. Serrano's going to try and make it 3 wide as they come onto the brakes into the right-hander. No opportunity for any of the drivers making it through on the entry of the corner, but Serrano's got the exit of the corner. Fraga's losing out as well to Quinton Yahul here as we come down the straight in towards turn number 4, and we're still side by side for the race lead here between Araki and Serrano. Then Serrano's on the inside into T4. He's up the inside. Quinton Yahul's getting his elbows out and is now through on Araki, or trying to be at least through that corner. Can't quite make it stick, so it's Serrano, Araki, Yahul, and now Fraga from Miyazono.
That was all caused because Serrano and Fraga thought. If they had not fought on that last couple of corners in that last lap, they would have both been clear of Araki and they would have been up the road to him. But of course, because they were squabbling, that all played into Dodge's hands and allowed Araki to sort of stay with his group. In fact, sort of stay where he was. Second place now to Serrano. He got a little bit greedy though in that last part down at T4. I think he should have tried to sort of come back in a little bit earlier, trying not to fight with Serrano, because that allowed Quinton Yahul a look, which could have quite easily been a place lost for Dodge and Araki. But Igor Fraga's the loser here, down to 4th place now with Takuma Miyazono behind him as well. So after our pit stops, it is Porsche from Dodge, from Peugeot, our top 3 at the moment, with Toyota and Subaru 4th and 5th. Igor Fraga looking very close at the back of Quinton Yahul, but not quite getting the same exit speed as the Peugeot driver.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, there would have been a BOP update coming into round 3 after the World Series showdown, so I do wonder whether that's just changed at the performance index of these cars. Here comes Araki on the inside of Serrano into turn 3, sends it in the Dodge Viper, runs it deep on the corner exit though. Serrano's going to get the supreme traction coming out of that corner on the run down in towards turn 4. We're side by side again with Serrano and Araki. It's Porsche versus Dodge, it's Spaniard versus Japanese, and down in towards the braking zone. Serrano has the inside line, the Porsche driver has the track position, and he holds on to the lead from Araki for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, you're not really going to make a move work around the outside there unless you can really get on the throttle early. That Dodge does have the legs in a straight line, but not quite enough over the Porsche to get the overcut and sort of slot back in on the inside line. As long as he's being kept on the outside there, Serrano's just going to drive him off to the exit of the circuit and show him where the gravel trap is, which he's entitled to do. It's his line, so it's a tricky one if you're Iraqi there. Maybe you want to be calming down a little bit though, because lap 12 of 20 lap race, maybe making his lunges now is not the best idea, but we'll see what he does. I mean, I'm interested to see if he can make something work there on the Serrano and the Porsche in front, but it's going to have to be something special.
Riding on board here with the triple champion, the triple reigning champion, Takuma Miyazono, won the Toyota GR Cup last year, won the Manufacturer Series, won the Nations Cup as well, and he currently sits in 5th position at the back of these top 5 drivers. Now we switch on board to the other Japanese driver who is in the quintet of runners as they come down in towards turn number 5, and of course Iraqi is at the helm of this at the moment. Here comes Yahal with a send on the brakes into turn 3. Into second place goes the Peugeot RC driver. Well, he's only 18 years old. He's only just made his debut in the FIA Certified Gran Turismo Championships, but with moves like that, he's got a promising future.
Iraqi there, interestingly, just opting to bump Quintin. I would have just sent it back on him there, to be honest. But that little bump there actually sent Quintin a little bit wide, a bit over speed. He didn't quite expect that. But yeah, good move. The Peugeot driver up into P2 now. And this is what I was sort of wary for Dodge, is they'd end up just taking these lunges and just sort of costing himself a little bit of time and then opening the door to cars behind. So that's all allowed Jose Serrano a little bit of breathing room at the front. 7 tenths per second doesn't sound like much. When you're used to the guy behind you sitting on your rear wing, it feels like an eternity. So the next guy behind you. So we're on board now with Iraqi. You can see in front there now starting to dive across the circuit, chasing the slipstream as we come into the last 2 corners through here. Now, interesting to the difference between the Peugeot and the Dodge through here. You can see just on exit, that rotation, pick on the rotation, that Peugeot just much better. It seems like the Iraqi just pushes out to the exit there in the Dodge and just can't quite get the exit speed. So behind us right now on the circuit is Igor Fraga, 2 tenths behind. You can't quite see him there. He's on the little TV screen at the bottom right, covered by our graphics. So, but he's right behind. This is the thing. One false move in this little train, you can find yourself just being steamrolled to the back of it.
And we're coming towards the closing stages now as well, and these drivers, of course, will have been on these tyres for half of the race by the time they come to the end. Do you think that whoever's managed their tyres better could be in with a shout of making the moves in the closing stages?
I mean, the hard tyres are pretty hardy, funny enough. They will last for a long time, and the performance doesn't really drop off. Now, if you are sliding the car around a lot, there is going to be a difference between you and the guy who hasn't been doing that behind you. So maybe it is worth looking after them to some point, but seeing as everyone did opt to take tyres during this race, I think that it shouldn't be too different towards the end.
So coming through into that middle sector we go once more, and daylight being brought there between the top sort of 5 now. You can see that Serrano's just pulled out a 6 tenths of a second advantage, but also Iraqi has pulled out 6 tenths over Igor Fraga. So the top 5 just sort of beginning to splinter off into their own sort of separate groups here as well. What do we think that's all about?
Just where everyone's sort of fighting and trying to vie for position. It's natural that happens, and I mean, these guys are together on circuit, but they aren't really doing very well at the moment. They're the predicted points on the screen, and Mazda, of course, down in P12 with Kokeman, would not move right now. They would stay in the lead just about, but that lead would come down to only 1 point. So this has really been quite a disappointing showing here for Team Mazda.
It certainly has. Into the right-hander we go, and of turn 1, and onto the back straight on the run down in towards turn number 3. You can see Iraqi there once again sits in the slipstream of Quintin Yahal as they come on that run into the right-handed braking zone. You can see that is where Iraqi has pounced so many times, and he looks up the inside of Quintin Yahal. Does he make the move stick? Well, it's a half look there. Didn't manage to make it stick on the corner exit, and I dare say that Yahal got better traction on the exit, but I say that they're now side by side coming on the straight down in towards turn number 4. Yahal has to relinquish position, and Iraqi is through into second place there. So a nicely timed move there from Iraqi. I wondered for a time if he would be able to find his way through, but he managed to get it done.
Yeah, I wonder now, do you settle for second place if you are Yuki Iraqi? I mean, obviously you wouldn't, but there in your brain you've got to think, is it worth me now trying to fight Jose Serrano, who is a little bit quicker, it has to be said, than these guys at the moment, pushing that little bit extra and maybe opening yourself up to attack from Quintin Yahal. Maybe it's worth it, we'll see. But right now, at the order stands with a couple of laps to go. So Jose Serrano, the Porsche, in first. Dodge in second with Yuki Iraqi, who's definitely been my my pick of the race so far. Great to see Dodge doing so well. We rarely see him outside, inside the top 8, to be honest. And Quinton Yahul of Peugeot in in third place. Sorry.
Yeah, Dodge only sitting in 11th in the standings on 2 points so far. And you can see a penalty there being given to Igor Fraga. That is because he has exceeded track limits. That's a penalty that's been awarded automatically, and he's going to lose out here to Takuma Miyazono as he comes through turn 1. So it's got him all out of sequence then on the run down in towards turn 3. They're going to run side by side. He's not even come into the penalty zone here yet, Igor Fraga, and yet he's going to lose a position potentially there to Miyazono. Into the right-hander of turn 3 we go. He's going to pull off of the racing line, presumably there as well, and he might potentially be under threat here from Beauvoir and Regalado, who are not too far adrift. There is Fraga serving his penalty. Miyazono goes through. Where does he emerge back? Because of course the overspeed for Beauvoir and Regalado is going to be very important. Here comes Beauvoir down the inside in the Mercedes. Through into turn 4 they go. Regalado fancies joining the party. Fraga has no room to move it. He's on the gravel. He's out wide, and he's now down into 7th place there. So one simple mistake on the previous lap, costing him 3 positions in the space of half a lap.
I'm laughing there because Beauvoir very much opened the door and Regalado like, oh, me too, and jumped through, and poor Fraga there, just say 4th to 7th. And that is how close it is round here. Just a half-second penalty for just pushing up a little bit too hard the track limits. And Igor Fraga for Toyota, who was looking like he could have been a competitor for the win, is now down to 7th place. Again, disaster for Toyota, really.
Oh dear for Toyota. They were sitting second in the standings going into the Manufacturer Series World Series 3, and of course riding on the crest of a wave after that phonetic performance they put in the World Series showdown recently. Sadly, it's not proven to be double delight for them here in Austria. So down the back straight we go once again on that run in towards turn number 3. It's Porsche from Dodge from Peugeot. If you told me that at the start of the year, I wouldn't have believed you, because we haven't seen these 3 manufacturers fighting at the sharp end for a very long time, least of all with one another.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Porsche have been pretty quick for the last few series now, but definitely Dodge and Peugeot starting to wind it up. Now they've found a couple of drivers who I think are just willing to stay with the brand, with the manufacturer. I mean, you are free to pretty much change at any point at the start of each season, but I think the fastest guys are those that stay in one place and really learn the little characteristics and intricacies of each car. Those are the guys who do well, and that's why we see Serrano and Araki and Yahul now really getting the most out of these machines. And here is Araki again in 2nd place. He has closed up now to Serrano, so he is getting close, and he'll know that. And this is where the heart rate starts to go a little bit. You think, right, okay, a few laps to go. I have a chance of winning this race. How do I do it? And usually I find that you don't really count down the laps. You just sort of say, okay, right here, how many opportunities I have left? So maybe 2 a lap. I'm going to have a couple of stabs at it, get close, and then go from there. If you get, it's really easy to get inside your own head at this point. And that's when the mistakes come out. So I'll be interested to see how Araki deals with this sort of new pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see how he is going to deal with that pressure. And let's see when he is crucially going to pounce as well on that run up the hill and towards that first corner. Very strong on the brakes. Looks that Dodge Viper and Araki as well seems to just have whatever it is dialed in very nicely indeed. And I'm very keen to see whether he is going to be able to pounce on Serrano, if he is going to do it before the end of the final lap. Here he goes on the outside into turn number 3. Serrano going for the defensive line there, forcing Araki to the curb on the outside, compromising the Japanese driver's exit and just giving Serrano that little bit of breathing room for the time being. So if you're Araki, you've got 2 laps left. When do you pounce? And do you only do it once, or do you set up a few dummies?
You can't be doing it on the outside. We know that doesn't work. We know that Serrano can cover that off. He's done it pretty much every time someone's tried it around the outside. He's just sat on the apex and driven out the corner, and the guy behind tends to lose a place. So Araki must know that by now. He's been on the receiving end of that a few times, so he's got to try to send him a dummy somewhere and get onto that inside line, get alongside. As soon as he has any amount of that car alongside on the inside, the place is going to be his in this corner, if he can get it done. But that is very much easier said than done, given that Jose Serrano has driven an absolutely fantastic race so far at Porsche. He's not put a foot wrong this entire race, and given he's got some of the fastest guys in the world behind him, a lot of pressure, I think that's very impressive there from the Spaniard.
Well, let's not forget, of course, that Peugeot have been slowly making their way up through the field in 2021. They finished 3rd in the World Series Showdown last time out, at the expense, of course, of Volkswagen, who ran out of fuel on that final lap in the Grand Final. So very keen to see whether Quinton Yahul, the young Belgian driver, is going to be able to do anything. Now, this is the run down in towards turn 3, where Iraqi has been so strong on the brakes. That Dodge Viper is an absolute bullet in a straight line, and he is really, really confident under braking. You can see that Serrano knows that on the brakes. On the outside there goes Iraqi. Does he get the move done? They run side by side on corner exit, and Serrano just about holds off the pressure for the time being, but Iraqi certainly getting a bit more intensive than he was last time out. And of course Yahul is ready to try and join the party. Nearly side by side they run down in towards turn 4. Serrano once again going for the defensive line, tries to get the switch back on the inside, doesn't quite make the move stick through there. Yahul's ready to try and get involved here as well, but it's certainly getting a bit more aggressive with these top 3 now.
Yeah, definitely. And Iraqi there put himself really on the wrong side of the circuit. He put himself on the outside for no particular reason, I think, just trying to pressure Serrano, but he has to understand that behind him is this man, Team Peugeot. Quentin Yahul, so fast, and he will take any opportunity he can get. We've seen that already in this race, so he's got to be careful here, Iraqi, if he wants that win. But Serrano is just doing what an experienced driver would do and just putting the car in all the right places, parking on the apex, making it so the guy behind can't get the run out of the corner, and just defending when he needs to. One more lap now separates Team Porsche and win here in World Series round 3, but it's going to be very impressive if he can hold that off.
Final lap time then. The smile from Yuki Iraqi was gone when we saw that picture-in-picture just a few moments ago. On the brakes in towards that first corner we are once more, and Iraqi then is going to try and pounce on Serrano. Serrano is just a tad wide out of that first turn. On the run down into turn 3, this is the Japanese driver's favourite overtaking opportunity. Serrano knows that, goes for the defensive line once again, but the overspeed of the Dodge Viper is certainly evident here as they come on the brakes into the right-hander. Yuki Iraqi is going to have no track there. Here comes Quentin Yahul, ready to try and join the party as well. Side by side, they're going to run down the straight in towards turn number 4. So instead of battling for the lead, it's now defending second place for Yuki Iraqi. Let's see whether Yahul is going to be able to make that move stick. Serrano's going for the defensive line ever so slightly. Yahul's on the inside. There's a bit of argy-bargy, bit of elbow bashing between them. Iraqi slots down into third place as Yahul loses traction there. So it was all action stations.
Yeah, Peugeot there. Quentin Yahul did very, very well just to tuck into the slipstream of the Porsche in front, and that's what made the difference there. Although the Dodge is fast in a straight line, he's not fast about the toe, and that means that Iraqi's gone from fighting to the lead down into third place. But with Serrano there, pretty much just did what he's done the last few laps and managed to maintain the lead. A fantastic effort there from the Spaniard.
Fantastic stuff, as you say, Jimmy, for Jose Serrano. That Porsche driver has driven supremely, and great to see Porsche up the sharp end of the field. They won World Series 1 in the Manufacturer Series. It's taken a short while, but they come over the line to win round 3 of the Manufacturer Series. Team Porsche and Jose Serrano are on top here at the Red Bull Ring, from Quentin Yahul for Peugeot, and the Dodge of Yuki Iraqi getting their best result of the 2021 season so far.